Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch or listen to this podcast. It's me, Omar, again with a familiar face on the podcast. We got Brock Vieira of Midnight Sports Today, good friend. I'm glad to have you on, and of course, it's bowl season, so gonna have another conference guru analyzing another conference's bowl projections as we figure this thing out because the excitement's killing me. I'm sure it's killing a lot of people. Brock, how's everything going?
Going good, and you hit it right on the head. There's so many bowl eligible teams in the Mountain West. The Mountain West has been at the top, if not one of the top teams or conferences in terms of winning in bowl season. And just I'm just excited. It's been a really fun 12 weeks. Can't believe it's already ended, and I'm just looking forward to enjoying this last month of college football we got left.
Absolutely. It always goes by so fast and the bowl season always puts a great bow on it. So it's always a bittersweet time of year. So to begin ours, we can't have bowl projections without knowing the conference champion really, at least in the Mountain West because the Mountain West has more structure even though it has only a little bit of structure, it still has more structure relatively than a lot of other Group of Five conferences. So, after reading an article from the San Diego Union Tribune, looking at San Diego State's bowl possibilities, which we'll touch on briefly, of course. Uh, the Mountain West bowl times go as the champion goes to Los Angeles Bowl, carrying the legacy of the Las Vegas Bowl for so many years. So the champion goes to the LA Bowl and plays a Pac-12 team. I think it's the number 7 Pac-12 team. And then after that, the Arizona Bowl gets second choice. And then after that, the New Mexico Potato Bowl, Hawaii Bowl, and one of the ESPN owned Dallas Fort Worth Bowls, whether it be the Frisco, the First Responder, or the Armed Forces Bowl. They pull together and have some selections. So, well, just a brief recap in case I was a mouthful. Your bowl order is champion goes to Los Angeles Bowl. Arizona Bowl gets second choice, and then all on the same level is the Potato, DFW Bowls, Hawaii Bowl, and New Mexico Bowl. So, starting off with that, who do you think will be the Mountain West champion? Of course, we have Fresno State versus Boise. Of course, Boise State was dominant in their game in their meeting earlier in the season. Excuse me. But now Jake Haener's back. Jake Haener did not play in that game, so kind of a tough game to call, I think. So who do you got, Brock?
Well, this is very tough because both teams kind of had a similar track this season. There was a point in time where I think a lot of us, especially myself, thought that Andy Avalos' rope was getting very short up at Boise, and then he just went on an absolute tear and just started wrecking the Mountain West. His defense got into shape, and they've just been unstoppable. Honestly, ever since Hank Bachmeier decided to transfer out, not trying to bash on the young man, but it is what it is. And then Fresno State, obviously, they lost Jake Haener, and they were subpar here and there, and then they really turned it on when Haener came back. Had that huge game against Hawaii, and honestly just haven't stopped since. Being the fact that I believe they're playing in Las Vegas in Allegiant Stadium, so they're going to be in a domed environment. Considering that the weapons around him, Jalen Cropper, I believe his name is somebody that I am absolutely in love with when it comes to Fresno. I gotta take the Fresno State Bulldogs to beat the Boise State Broncos in a close one.
Yeah, so I guess just some context. The game is at Albertson Stadium. It's no longer a
Oh, it's at
neutral site.
Albertsons.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
at
they're up in
Albertson. So
Boise.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a tough in that cold environment. Gonna be tough to throw, but I'm gonna stick with my pick. I think
Okay.
that Jeff Tedford's he's smart enough to make Hainer be make him more comfortable. And honestly, when it comes to a pro prospect, Hainer can make all the throws at the top level, and I expect him to have a very nice NFL career. He's gonna top his college career with a nice performance against Boise.
Yeah, I would have to agree because if you look at the earlier meeting, Logan Fife was, had a bad game at quarterback, 134 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns. And of course that led to the run game kind of being stalled with Jalen Mims only having 61 yards and less than 3 yards per carry. So even though the game's at Albertsons, I mean, we have seen Fresno State come into Albertson Stadium and win the Mountain West title game. I think it was 2019 or no 2018, I believe, when that snowy game when they played in the snow. So we have seen Fresno State do that. So it's nothing new. I think Jake Haener is a huge factor now. Boise State, looking they finished well, but I mean they you know kind of struggled against like better teams, whether it be BYU, Wyoming, teams of that level. So I too have to say Fresno State will win. I think they will win the Mountain West title game, and as a result, go to the LA Bowl, which is huge for the LA Bowl because I mean Boise State fans travel well. I saw it firsthand out in El Paso. Saw the the Broncos travel well to the West Texas town of El Paso, so they will travel well to LA. But I think the LA Bowl would want, especially with the quick turnaround between the LA Bowl and the Mountain West title game, 2 weeks. They'd want Fresno State about 5-6 hours away from Los Angeles. So the LA Bowl wins. Second choice of bowl games. Who do you have the Arizona Bowl taking? As last year, there was no Arizona Bowl. Boise State was there. I don't even think they made the trip because the game got canceled due to COVID protocols from Boise State. So I don't know if that's a drawing factor for Boise State to go to the Arizona Bowl. But who would you have going to the Arizona Bowl, Brock?
Oh sure. Well, wouldn't it be Boise State? If we say Fresno State's gonna win, then doesn't Arizona get the number 2 team in the Mountain West? Or am I confused on that?
So it's not like the number two ranked team. They would have second choice. So like last year, San Diego
Oh, so
State went
that
to go
bowl
to
game would
Frisco.
choose.
Yeah,
Got
they
you.
have second pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a tough one because you gotta look at the market and the teams that are there right now, and there really isn't a team in Arizona. And the best choice would be New Mexico, right? Because they're literally right next door, except New Mexico is not in the Mountain West anymore, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Going through these lists, you got several California teams. I would have to go with Air Force to go to the Arizona Bowl. And the reason why is because it's not too bad of a trip from Colorado Springs. There is a fairly big Air Force community in Arizona already. I think they use some places in the desert to do some training. Don't quote me on that. And it's just easy travel for everyone around. So I would go with Air Force.
Yeah, that was my pick as well. I have Air Force in that game as well. I've been playing against Toledo actually in a rematch of the 2011 Military Bowl. Probably the 2011 Military Bowl, one of those nice forgotten like electric bowls where it's like it's still in my mind where Air Force ran a speed option with their kicker and holder and the kicker fumbled the pitch and it went out of the end zone and Air Force lost by 1 point out at good old RFK Stadium. Definitely a forgotten bowl game, but yeah, I think the Arizona Bowl would be blessed to have Air Force considering two things. Like you mentioned, the Air Force community. I do believe there's a few Air Force bases in Arizona. I can only speak on the Army side of things where we got one base in Arizona, a training base. But I'm sure like even then, like like you said, the huge Air Force community, a lot of retirees out there in Arizona. A lot of older folks probably have served in the military. So there's that. Also a national brand Air Forces. Um, Earlier this year, Sam Houston announced that they're going to play Air Force at NRG Stadium in Houston. So Air Force definitely still has that national draw, and the national draw is huge for the Arizona Bowl, considering that the game does not have a linear TV partner. It's not broadcast by ESPN. It's not broadcast by CBS slash CBS Sports Network anymore. It's on YouTube and the Barstool, socials. So they're gonna want a national brand, I think, for that game, whether it be because last year they went with Boise State in the first year of the partnership or of the sponsorship. This year, I feel like Air Force is the logical choice, just with all that considered. So I'm excited. I'll be there. The family's making the trip, and I'm excited for that one. But you have anything else? Anything else on that note, Brock?
Yeah, two things. One, New Mexico performed so bad this year that I didn't see them on the roster on the list of conferences. So yes, they are still in the Mountain West. But while they are 2-10, that
Yeah.
is sad to look at. Get Rocky Long out of the DC booth and make him head coach again. Make New Mexico great again. But only other thing to add is that, like you said, Air Force is a national growing brand. I think they played against Army in Arlington a couple times at the baseball stadium. You know, it's going to be really interesting because I'm hearing Trey Calhoun's name get popped up for other head coaching jobs around the country. It's going to be really interesting to see if he takes them, and if he does, how will Air Force respond? Obviously, they moved on from Fisher to Berry very well with Mr. Calhoun. Couldn't do that again. That's the last time I can say on the Air Force Falcons.
I feel like this is a great time to go off topic because I was thinking about it today. As I was driving around work, I was thinking like, you know what, Colorado's got to go back to their roots, run some option. I was thinking, what, Jamie Chadwell should be the guy at Colorado, not Deion Sanders. Nothing against Deion Sanders. I just don't think he's a great fit out there in Colorado. I mean, but I think like Chadwell would have been a good one. But honestly, with you saying Coach Calhoun, I think Coach Calhoun would be a better fit because think about the personnel they have. I'm not sure what year that Brendan Lewis is Brendan Lewis has shown flashes these past couple years at quarterback. I think he would fit well in a gun option scheme or a triple option scheme. And frankly, I think Colorado fans, older Colorado fans, I think it's easier to install the option for Colorado because of the pedigree they had in the '90s with Rashawn Salam, rest in peace. Darian Hagan and Eric Bieniemy, heck, even Eric Bieniemy as a head coach for Colorado. But anyway, yeah, I think Troy Calhoun is a great name to be thrown out there. But I don't think they'd skip a beat either because Mike Thiessen is one of the best coordinators in all of college football, like one of the best in-game adjusting coordinators. Like 2 straight years in the second half against Army, he's cooked us like with just great halftime adjustments. So I don't think they'd skip a beat. I think Thiessen would be the head coach, former alum as well. So yeah, I mean, on that note, 100% agree, Brock. Next up, we have the New Mexico Bowl. So this one's kind of a tough one to guess, I think. It's hard because my top two teams are Wyoming and San Jose State, just because they haven't been to the Mexico Bowl in a long time. Wyoming fans travel well. Something I always remember is like the 2016 Poinsettia Bowl, the final one. Rest in peace. But Josh Allen, or sorry, not Josh Allen, but Wyoming. There's a story that the governor of Wyoming had to come because so many of his constituents or so many of his like cabinet, so many people in his cabinet made the trip to San Diego. So Wyoming fans have had that reputation of traveling well for a good 3 decades. So I think they would travel well to New Mexico. But that being said, because the other bowls talk to each other, um, I think San Jose State also like not really traveling as well, and with the game being played in a smaller stadium, I feel like San Jose State and Wyoming would either you can either pick one for the Frisco or the New Mexico Bowl. But I think my projection would be I have Wyoming going to the New Mexico Bowl. Who do you have going to the New Mexico Bowl, Brock?
Yeah, that's a tough one because you brought up so many great points about both schools. Right before I like to say I agree with the Trey Calhoun pick. Deion Sanders is not the right fit for Colorado, but he is going to be a perfect fit for another school. Would love to see Calhoun at a Power Five school. I would have to agree with you and say Wyoming. Yeah, like you said, they travel well. The New Mexico Bowl personally holds a really close place in my heart as the University of Hawaii Warriors won the 2020 Mexico Bowl that was played in Frisco, Texas. COVID was a beautiful time when the University of New Mexico played at my alma mater's field, Sam Boyd Stadium. R.I.P. Sam Boyd, just like R.I.P. Qualcomm for the Poinsettia Bowl. Wow, all these great venues of football that we grew up watching are now being destroyed. Beautiful, but beside the point, yeah, definitely got to go with Wyoming. They do travel very well. Their support is phenomenal up there. I would love to visit War Memorial Stadium in the opening weeks because I'm not trying to stand outside in the cold and it does get very cold up in Laramie. But I think it'll be a perfect fit. The only issue when it comes to the Mexico Bowl is to travel to Las Cruces. I believe that's where the game is being played.
It's
Is
Albuquerque. It's
is it
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque? Oh,
Yeah,
then never mind. If
yeah,
it's in Albuquerque, it's a perfect fit because to get to Las Cruces, you gotta go like 8 different places. Like it is
yeah.
not an easy. It's not an easy trip. If it's in Albuquerque, Wyoming, they're gonna make the trip. I think it'll be a perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for their opponent, that one's kind of pending because with the big firestorm about New Mexico State and their waiver, which I'm hoping it happens, hoping they get their waiver. The big firestorm, I'm not really sure who their opponent would be at the moment. I think before all this stuff happened, I had them playing Middle Tennessee, but of course that's changed. So now I have them playing the 5-7 Rice Owls, who of course are guaranteed a spot with there not being enough bowl eligible teams. So, a good old whack matchup, good old 96-98 whack matchup. I know I love it. Sickos like me love it. So, you know, I would be pumped for that one.
Yeah,
Uh
that'd
yeah.
be great. Just want to shout out Jerry Kill. I think you tweeted out that Jerry Kill should get some Coach of the Year nominations. He absolutely should. I feel like if they played Nevada any week but their first game of the season, they probably would have beat them and be bowl eligible. Just what a job Jerry Kill has done for the Aggies. And man, that sucks because if Hawaii could have just pulled it out against San Diego State, and there's another team that we're close against. We could have been bowl eligible. Shoot, yeah. The addition of so many bowls has just it's diluted the market, but it's also made things so fun to watch these seniors get a chance to go out one last time. Damn, only 2 games. Shoot,
Yeah.
oh
I
that
know it's
hurts.
closer too. It hurts me too because I remember betting the money line on Hawaii San Diego State as like as you know I'm like hey like I got a feeling because like this is when like Braxton Burmeister was starting. It was like Jalen Maiden's first start, and I was like I'm like this is definitely it. Like this line is overinflated, but then you know Jalen Maiden took control of the job. So yeah, that's that. Moving on to the next bowl. Well, let's go with the Potato Bowl. I guess we'll kind of go with the schedule of the bowl season, or kind of not. So with the Potato Bowl, with we already have put Fresno State, Air Force, and Wyoming in bowls. Potato Bowl, of course, the two most actually there's three realistic options. I think San Jose State, who's never been to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. There, of course, is Boise State, who would be playing as a home team. Maybe would set up a Boise State Ohio kind of like champions clash. If Boise State ends up winning the Mountain West with a 10-3 record, a battle between 10-3 teams, kind of a Rose Bowl of Idaho type thing, you know. Very, very cool. And then the last option would be Utah State. And I think Utah State for me is the most realistic option because Logan's only about 4 hours away from Boise. Utah State has not appeared in the bowl since 2015, and I feel like ESPN would want to set up Boise State for a bigger matchup because I think Boise State still kind of has a pretty big brand in comparison to the rest of the group of five. So I mean, I think seeing Boise State, I think ESPN will want to put Boise State against Power Five, which we'll talk about later on. But Brock, your thoughts on the Potato Bowl?
Well, in an ideal world, I would love to see Boise State play in the Potato Bowl because obviously it's their home field. I love it when players get one last chance. Maybe because I grew up watching UH play it in the Hawaii Bowl all the time, and I have fond memories. I believe it was a 2008 Potato Bowl. It was Idaho versus Bowling Green, I believe. Um, Idaho was down by 7. They drove downfield to score with 2 seconds left, and then they went for the 2 point conversion, which they hit in the back of the end zone. It was this great, great moment that is just imprinted in my mind, and that's why I love watching teams and state. But you bring up a great point about Boise State is a bigger brand. They probably want to put them in a bigger showcase. So if we're being realistic, I think we're gonna go Utah State for the Potato Bowl just because one, the weather won't be an issue for the team anyway. Um, yeah, and I already if I didn't have Wyoming going to the Mexico Bowl, it would be the perfect fit, right? But because I do, I gotta go Utah State. The record doesn't really deserve to go to a bigger bowl. It kind of fits in terms of temperature and from an accessibility standpoint, it checks all the boxes. So I'll go Utah State.
Yeah, and the thing with Utah State is, of course, they went to the LA Bowl last year, but they went to the Frisco Bowl in 2019. The great Jordan Love, Dustin Crum quarterback duel of 2019. You know, still be telling my kids about that. You know, it wasn't Jordan Love's coming out party. It was Dustin Crum's coming out party. But yeah, they so I think that kind of disqualifies them from like the Frisco Bowl, which would be an ideal fit for a team of their record. Or the first responder bowl as well. So I mean it's great. I mean, shoot, Brock, we're agreeing on everything. You know, might make this a bit boring. You know, I might need to fire hot takes. So you can disagree with me here,
I
but
think I like to say great minds think alike, right?
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, with that, I have Utah State playing Eastern Michigan in the Potato Bowl. Those Eastern Michigan has never played in the Potato Bowl, but they've also Eastern Michigan's also never played in any of the Florida Bowls, so that also could be something that brings Eastern Michigan to those bowls. But Utah State, the Potato Bowl it looks pretty good, especially since they haven't been there since Chucky Keaton's last year. Um, sad, sad. There's nothing to
Wow,
say
that
about
that
this.
name I've never heard in forever. My goodness, all the memories are coming back strong now.
It's just sad, It's he could, yeah. Before we both get teary eyed, I guess we'll go to the next bowl. So before we hit the DFW bowls, I think it's fitting that we talk about the Hawaii Bowl, which of course was determined today. And I did have San Diego State in this one. You can see my scratched out list right here. You see SDSU Hawaii. So I did have them in that one because they had not played in the Hawaii Bowl since 2015. And the interesting thing is with the Hawaii Bowl is that the bowl hates sending teams to Hawaii twice in 1 year. So on that note, it disqualified Wyoming from that. And yeah, well, just Wyoming. It just disqualified Wyoming from playing in the Hawaii Bowl. So San Diego State made a lot of sense. Hadn't played there since 2015. Their opponent I tweeted out earlier today. I was like, it must be hard, or it was like it's hard being a Middle Tennessee fan having to go to the Bahamas and Hawaii in back-to-back years on less than a month's notice, or not having to, but that's your bowl option. So I'm surprised that Conference USA and ESPN we're so cruel to send one of the two loyal teams in the conference in this conference realignment to Hawaii. Like you stay in the conference after being courted by the MAC, and that's your treatment. You get sent to Hawaii, which it doesn't seem like a punishment, but it's
I'm
hard. It's
about to
hard on the
say like
wallet.
the NC's kind of like a reward is the way you're
Yeah,
phrasing it.
yeah. As I started to say that more, I'm like maybe I should backtrack this thing.
Yeah, no, let me stay in the frozen wilderness of Tennessee, or let me go to the Bahamas and Hawaii in like a span of 30 days. I think I know which one I'm picking.
I retract
Personally,
that. I retract that statement. But yeah, was this a surprise to you, Brock? Just San Diego State going to the Hawaii Bowl?
it was. It still is. Because to me, personally, I would have sent Boise State to the Hawaii Bowl. And the reason why is because they're the only sporting event that takes place on Christmas Eve, at least football wise. But I believe it's like, but maybe there's a couple basketball games probably for college basketball. But I think when it comes to actual football, they're the only game, so they would get all the national attention. This wouldn't be the first time Boise State's both played in Hawaii and in the Hawaii Bowl. I think we all remember Chris Johnson's incredible performance against them in the 2007 Hawaii Bowl. And then at the same time, Boise State automatically travels well anyway. They already have a bunch of fans in Hawaii anyway, so the stands are, there's going to be people. I just think it would have been the perfect fit when you want to display a national brand. You put them up at the only game available. So I guess I'm not that big of a fan because of how poor San Diego State has been this year. And I feel that if the ratings are low and attendance is low for the Hawaii Bowl, being the fact that it was canceled the past 2 years, that we could lose it, and that's not something I want to see.
Yeah, that's not a world I want to live in either. That's a good point though with Boise State traveling well. And again, like ESPN, like time and time again, they've proved that, these bowls are there for their purposes to make money and not for really the organizers. I think, with the Conference USA opponent, what better bowl game to put, as the only game on TV at that moment than Boise State versus UTSA. Like it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. Like,
What a matchup that would be. That would literally
yeah.
be offensive genius and Jeff Traylor versus defensive guru and Avalos. And shout out to Jeff Traylor. I was hoping that Texas would kind of be more awful this year so they could get rid of Sark and bring in Jeff Traylor. I think Traylor would be I know we're going off topic again, but I think Traylor would be the perfect fit for the Longhorns. He's a solid coach who has phenomenal roots in Texas high schools, and he can build a good offense and he doesn't get scared in the second half. I remember the opening game against Houston. There's no way that I know they lost. There's no way that game should have gone to overtime, and that just shows the kind of magic Traylor can pull out. So shout out to him, man. What a job he's done for UTSA.
Absolutely. And I mean, as is a reality for a lot of group of fives, like, I don't think he'll be there for long. I mean, we'll see what jobs open up over the next couple years, but it's gonna be hard to keep him, even with the American kind of like diminishing in kind of strength, with these Conference USA editions. It's just Conference USA 2.0 essentially. I think it would be hard to keep Trailer, especially if he finds a job in the area, whether it be like maybe not Texas Tech, but maybe I guess A&M or like another school in the region. It could be hard to keep him.
It's gonna be hard to keep definitely, but he's not going to go to A&M because that would be the smart thing to do, and Texas A&M does not like to do the smart thing.
Oh
So
yeah, I agree. Or rational things too.
yeah,
Barely beat UMass one week and beat the number 5 team in the country the next week. So
yeah, what's crazy part about that is that I had a feeling I didn't want to say it out loud because I thought I was gonna be embarrassed, and I thought it was just the Brian Kelly hatred in my heart, just like festering. But I had a feeling that A&M was gonna beat LSU, and when that happened, it just brought so much joy because even if Brian Kelly somehow pulls off the upset and wins the SEC this year, they're not going to the college football playoff, and that just my prediction that Kelly will never win a natty at LSU is safe for another year.
for another year, yeah. After
For
after after one
at
year,
least one more year.
So yeah, it's always yeah. I mean, you're 100% right now, so I mean that's great. Um, going on to the last couple of bowl games, the two teams that we have not put in bowls are of course San Jose State and Boise State. So for me, the final two bowls, I mean, of course, with the tie-ins, you have the DFW bowls. So I think for my two projections, I have this. I guess we'll do them both at the same time. So for the Frisco Bowl, I have San Jose State. Of course, they're not playing the conference championship game, so it's not really a quick turnaround for the fans. They've never bowled in Texas before. Yeah, they've never bowled in Texas before. So the Frisco Bowl makes sense against, maybe I gotta check who I have playing in that one, depending on the conference against. Let's see. I did have Marshall, a San Jose State against Marshall game in the Frisco Bowl, kind of a rare intersectional matchup, but two solid teams. San Jose State not really known to travel well, and of course Toyota Field, the side of the FCS title game holds only 20,000 fans, so travel is not that much of a consideration. So I got San Jose State and landing there. Thoughts on that one, Brock?
Yeah, completely agree with you. Realistically, whoever they face is gonna be the team that packs the stands. It's tough for San Jose State because they're in such a diluted market, not only with other colleges but other pro teams as well. So realistically, they're at a time where football is going on all over in the Bay Area. A lot of Raiders fans are still going to Las Vegas. A lot of Niners fans are still spending their money at Niners games. Um, there's there's that Northern California thing where there's Stanford and Cal and just all those schools in Northern California that just kind of take away from the fan base. So regardless, no matter where they go, it's going to be a small turnout for them anyway. That stadium was a perfect fit. I think they'll probably bring at least 5,000 fans without a doubt, and they can all kind of like pack into that section. Funny enough, though, if I remember correctly, when I was at UNLV and I watched the Rebels play the Spartans, I, I think the Spartans actually kind of they put a lot of people in the stands at Sam Boyd, if I remember correctly. I may be having these random flashbacks, but I swear that like there's sneaky amounts of alumni of San Jose State just kind of scattered throughout the country. So I think it's a perfect fit for them. It's a perfect bowl game for a team of their stature, for a fan base of their stature. And the best part about that is that for them, they get to play. They're probably going to have a bunch of high school kids come out to the game anyway. A lot of 2, 3 star guys, and they're going to get to see a team that is very well coached by Brett Brennan, a guy that I really really love. And I really think this could be a great opportunity for them in terms of recruiting.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Brett Brennan, I think he would stay in the Bay Area. Honestly, I agree that he would stay. I think for Stanford, I guess since we keep going back and forth the coaching carousel, I think Brett Brennan going to Stanford would be a great hire for that program. He already knows how to recruit the Bay Area. And just already had one miraculous turnaround with San Jose State over the course of from 2018 all the way to 2020, and then now back to a bowl game too. So yeah, like you said, a well coached team, San Jose State. I'm partial. My dad's from Monterey. I was hoping that they would. I'm still hoping they would go to New Mexico. I hope my projection's wrong when it comes to the New Mexico Bowl, but I think this for the Frisco Bowl makes sense for San Jose State.
I said, shout out to your dad, man. I love Monterey. Now, every time I'm in Northern California, I gotta go. I
I've never been.
love. You've never been? Oh my goodness, you
Never
gotta
been to
go.
Monterey.
You gotta go. Some of
I
the
want to
best
go.
clam chowder I've eaten in my life.
Clam chowder in California.
Yeah, right. I know because everyone's always like, "Well, clam chowder," and everyone's always thinks, "Oh, you gotta go to San Francisco." San Francisco. No, there's a place called Fish Hopper in Monterey. The restaurant extends over the ocean, so you can really have a seat looking right at the water. The seagulls. There's obviously glass. The seagulls land in the little porch outside. You get clam chowder. You put a little bit of crab on it. They put fresh ground pepper, and they have their fresh baked rolls. Shout out to Fish Hopper. If you're in Monterey, check it out. Phenomenal food, phenomenal town. Shout out to your pops. That is awesome. I
I mean, I'm
love,
sure he'll appreciate the. I'm sure
I
appreciate the shout out.
most definitely, I love Monterey.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, I'm already planning a 2030 when Holy Cross plays San Jose State. To make my trip to the area, but eight
Most
years from now.
definitely.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but I'm
I know. I don't think I'll ever visit Spartan Stadium, but if maybe I'll pass by it. But that's not a venue that I need to see before I depart to the next life.
Ouch. Wow, that's well throwing some real punches there, Brock. Wow. I mean, maybe not now because they got the construction going on, but I mean, I don't think it's a bad venue.
It's not a bad venue. It's not a great venue. If I wanted to see that kind of venue, Bishop Gorman. I'm in Vegas. Bishop Gorman's right up the street. That's basically the same thing. Just
I think it's
a,
best we best we move on from that topic, lest we alienate our San Jose State listeners.
I'm gonna get some hate mail from the San Jose area. I can tell already.
So moving on to our final bowl. So of course we haven't placed Boise State in a bowl game, and it's not because no one wants Boise State. I just think with there being a surplus, and I'm sure you think too, with there being a surplus of Mountain West teams, ESPN will do their thing and create a very good matchup for Boise State. So I have Boise State going to the Armed Forces Bowl or the First Responder, whichever one places them against the Big 12 team. And I think that Big 12 team will be Texas Tech. I think. In either the First Responder or the Armed Forces Bowl. Thoughts on that? I mean, you got a power conference matchup, and it's a big stage for the Mountain West. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think ESPN and whoever is running these bowl games has some kind of hatred on Boise State because of what happened in '06 when they beat Oklahoma. Because if you look at the history of Boise State post that Fiesta Bowl, they've been having horrifically difficult matchups in bowl games compared to their conference matchups or conference foes. I remember the one year they went undefeated. They got instead of going to another BCS game, they got placed against TCU in the Poinsettia Bowl, which they actually lost. Remember the year after that, they played again TCU and Boise, both undefeated. Instead of sending them against actual Power Five teams, they were afraid that two Group of Five teams could win, so they ended up playing them against each other in the Fiesta Bowl, which Boise State won. I remember they put them in the Las Vegas Bowl against Chris Peterson in his final game, and Washington absolutely trounced them. So I agree with you that they're going to be placed against a high team at a nice venue that's going to get a lot of national attention because they want to see them get run over. And like normal, I don't think it's going to happen. I think whoever Boise State plays, that they're going to beat because they are a very good football team that is getting hot at the right moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So I guess on that Vegas Bowl, I think it was warranted to put Boise State in the Las Vegas Bowl because I mean they were I think 12-1 at that point. And then Washington was like struggling through either a 6-6 contest. But yeah, like you mentioned, like if you look at their bowl games, at least since the playoff era, you have the 2017. Yeah, I guess we'll start from 2015 where you have the Poinsettia Bowl where they played against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois won their division kind of like a Rose Bowl, a San Diego type of Rose Bowl thing. 2016, they played Baylor, a 6-6 Baylor team, in the Cactus Bowl. 2017, they played Oregon in the Vegas Bowl before Justin Herbert's big breakout.
Yep.
And then 2018, you have the infamous the infamous last bowl game in the Cotton Bowl Stadium, the no contest First Responder Bowl, ended in the which I think Boston College scored a touchdown in the first quarter to unofficially win the game.
Yep.
But you have that one. So they I think I mean ESPN loves putting Boise State against Power Five teams, and I don't think that's gonna change, especially with an opponent from the Big 12, whether that be I mean, like naturally, like before, I guess before Missouri was bowl eligible, I would have said this would have been Kansas because I think Kansas would have slid down the bowl the Big 12 bowl excuse me order. But I think the Liberty Bowl wants to make a Kansas Missouri game happen, so thank goodness for that. So I think it's going to be Texas Tech because I just think while Oklahoma is 6-6, I think that some bowl is going to take their opportunity to take Oklahoma in a bad year and have that name brand in their bowl game. So Texas Tech would be the odd man out playing Boise State in either the Armed Forces or First Responder.
Oh yeah, because no matter what, OU fans will support OU through thick and thin. So they're gonna show up and show out. Even last year when it came to where the Alamo Bowl against Oregon, like they packed the stands against Oregon. I mean, it did help Bob Stoops came back, so this whole like reminiscent thing, but like OU, yeah, they're definitely gonna take advantage of that. Where Texas Tech is a brand, I mean, besides Crabtree and that '08 season, when they beat Texas, can we really name the other time Texas Tech was a relevant team in college football? Because I personally can't. I can't. They weren't relevant under Mahomes. They weren't really like they were just around to say the least. and that they're just kind of like they're just it's weird for as much teams as there's in Texas. Texas Tech is somehow the odd man out. You'd think it would be UTSA, but UTSA gains a lot of attention because in the Alamo Dome, and they're also one of the top. They have a high-powered offense, and then UTEP gets like this random love because of Dimmel. I can't even say his last name. What's the head coach's name?
Dana Dimmel.
Yeah, Dan Dimmel. Like they get this weird like fan love, and Texas Tech is just like there. That's all I can put it. Like Baylor has a brand that TCU is one of the best teams in the nation, and Texas has the big Longhorn brand, and the Red Raiders are just around. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more on that. I mean, I mean, they're an awkward spot. Like they're in West Texas, but it's like not exactly West Texas. And again, like they haven't had like I always feel like they're solid. Like last year went to the Liberty Bowl, had a solid year. But it's like almost like it's almost like they're the NC State of the Big 12. It's like hardly ever a breakthrough year. Like they're never bad. You can count on NC State just being a solid team year in, year out. Same thing with Texas Tech. So and again,
yeah,
it's just interesting.
that's a
Yeah.
lot better than what I had. Them. I had if we're comparing ACC schools, I had them as like the Virginia of the Big 12, just like a perennial 500 team with maybe one breakout season, and that's about it. Also, shout out Bronco Mendenhall. Like that's a guy who we haven't talked about in a minute because he went on a sabbatical. I has his name not popped up for some of these jobs. I mean, what he did at Virginia was just fantastic. Like in an
Stanford.
NY6 game, the Cavaliers in an NY6 game, I just I just can't believe it.
Yeah, I think Bronco Mendenhall will be well served coaching either Colorado or Stanford. I think so hopefully we see Bronco come back, come back to coaching. We'll love to see this. I mean, for sure.
I'll take
Yeah,
him at
so
UNL. I'll take him at UNLV. We have an opening.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you guys do. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like that might be too small time, I guess. No offense, but it's like with other offers on the table,
Of course, no,
it's
definitely.
but
It's just the reality of it.
yeah, I mean, there's always time to bring back John Robinson. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding with
Can he leave his house? Like that man is
you.
old. Like
I know.
he's 86. Like I don't even know how he was like the what was he under Ed Orgeron at LSU? He was a
He's like
consultant.
advisor.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so like
consultant. Yeah.
I don't think he left California. I think he would like get on a once a month conference call and like say some inspiring stuff from back in the day and then just hang up.
Yeah. No, I
I see
mean,
Wheel of Fortune's on. I gotta go.
yeah, you're right. I mean, but I mean, you can't be much worse with the situation. The shocking firing. So I mean, John Robinson did lead UNLV to one of their four bowl games of all time. So why not?
Yeah, yeah. I think was it Justin Thomas or Jason Thomas, left-handed quarterback, African American dude. Man could sling it. Wow, he was awesome. Beat Houston Nutt and the Razorbacks in the Las Vegas Bowl. Should have beat him again, but Thomas got hurt. But that's all in the past.
It just reminds me. It reminds me of UTEP when Sean Kugler got fired for savory reasons. After what happened this week for savory reasons he got fired at UTEP. They just brought back Mike Price after like 6 years. It's like, hey, you just want an interim coach, like So yeah, but
Welcome
yeah,
back. Yeah, I mean, honestly, John Robinson is the only coach that you could stomach bringing back. I mean, you can't bring back Sanchez. Definitely can't bring back Bobby Hawk, nor would he ever leave Montana again, unless he gets a really good job, which I doubt, because I've heard rumors that his personality is not favorable in the very least. Yeah, Mike Sanford, I think, is coaching high school right now. Tony Knapp is dead. Bill Ireland's been dead. I can't name anybody else. So yeah, that's John Robinson, 86 years old. Hey, Paterno was 85 and he was still coaching.
yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess with that, before we get into more coaching carousel talk, this has been great, Brock. I mean, enjoyed having you on. Always love talking balls. It's great talking balls with a good friend. Any final words before we close this thing out?
No, just thank you guys for watching. It's been a lot of fun talking these bowl games. I waited so long for this college football season. I was so excited about it. I still am. But now that it's reaching its final chapter, it's a little sad that the darkness that is the off season is approaching. And after what January 7th, we're just spent in this dark hole of no college football until August. That's not a world I like to live in. So I just appreciate it for the time I've had with the sport, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as dark with the XFL and USFL, but it is dark because nothing beats college football.
Yeah, there's just something about the I can't even say amateur because these guys like are getting legally paid now. But there's just something about just the traditions, the pageantry, the hatred for no reason because a team isn't here and a team's over here. And back in the 1900s, somebody conked somebody in the head, and now we all hate each other. And now we fight for a brown jug. Like there's something that's so it doesn't make any sense about it, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so regionalized and so random. We love it. But yeah, I guess until next time, everyone. Peace, love, and soul.